Hi, I'm Aaron from bikesale.com, and I'm here to talk to you about my personal Mach 5.7 frame. I'm obviously a big fan of the Pivot Mach 5.7. It's a super fun bike, and I'm going to walk you through why. Basically, the first thing you're going to want to talk about with any full suspension pivot is the suspension design. They use a DW Link suspension, which was designed by a guy named Dave Weigel, who Pivot actually worked with very closely when they were designing this particular bike. One of the main features of DW Link suspension is how well it pedals under load. The very beginning of the travel is actually rearward, so when you're pedaling hard, you're pulling the rear end towards you and counteracting the suspension movement. As soon as it gets past the sag point, the travel turns into upward travel, vertical rear wheel movement, so it will absorb bigger bumps very smoothly. The DW Link suspension also makes use of very short suspension links. You can see this main lower link is really only about 1.5 inches long. That keeps the rear end very stiff. This lower link also has double row cartridge bearings so that it runs for a very long time without losing any smoothness, and you won't need to rebuild the suspension as often. It has a 12x42 rear axle here, just to keep with that stiffness theme, as well as a tapered head tube that tapers to 1.5 inches at the bottom, again, just to make the bike as stiff as possible. In addition, you have a press fit 92 bottom bracket, which is the widest and stiffest bottom bracket standard that you typically see on mountain bikes. Really, the name of the game with this bike is great suspension performance and high lateral stiffness. In addition, the geometry of this bike is excellent. It has a 67-degree head angle and a very short rear chainstay. It's about 16.75 inches. So it has a really playful feel on the downhills, but it's also quite capable of climbing. One of the best features of this DW Link suspension is that it doesn't affect the head angle and wheelbase of the bike nearly as much when it's compressed as some other designs. So even if you, say, land really hard into a corner, it's going to corner very predictably because the head angle isn't slackening a whole lot as the bike moves through its travel. It's also a very light frame. It's about 5.6 pounds with shock, which is very light for a 6-inch travel aluminum bike. My build right here is about 28 pounds with a dropper post. So it's Pivot's most versatile bike. This is capable of pretty much everything from cross-country to enduro riding or Super D or even some mild free ride because it can take wide tires in the back. It's a super fun bike. We're big fans of it at bikesale.com. And if you have any other questions about it, you can give us a call or give us a visit at our website.